call.
Mr. Fallon,
Here.
Mr. Garvin,
Here.
Mrs. Milano,
Here.
Mr. Vaccaro is absent, Mr. Biamonte,
Present.
and Mr. Nieves is absent.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to presentations, recognitions, and awards. Ms. Schmidt.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Mike. Each month, the Doyle School celebrates different areas of student achievement, and for this past month, we were very excited to focus on reading following our Read Across America Week. Our Readers of the Month were nominated and selected based on outstanding talent, interest, and effort in literacy. We believe that recognizing these young readers not only motivates them to continue nurturing a lifelong love of literature, but also promotes deeper comprehension, critical thinking, and a passion for learning. Recipients of this honor received a certificate of achievement and also have their photos prominently displayed at the Doyle School. I now present to you our K through 4 Readers of the Month. I'm going to start backwards. We're less shy. Grade 4, Anthony Fisitola. In grade 3, Liliana Gallucci. In grade 2, Juliana Miller. In grade 1, Liam Peterson. And last but not least, in kindergarten, Magnolia Canitor. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to recognize our March Students of the Month from the Woodridge Intermediate School. Each month, our staff selects students who have consistently demonstrated what it means to be a Blue Devil, showing respect, responsibility, kindness, and pride in everything that they do. These students stand out for their character and positive impact that they have on our school community. For the month of March, we focused on responsibility and self-discipline. This month's honorees are students who take ownership of their actions, stay focused on their goals, and consistently make thoughtful choices. They demonstrate what it means to do the right thing, even when no one is watching, and help create a school environment built on trust and accountability. For the month of March, we proudly recognize in grade 5, Rayon Hazer. In grade 6, Brady Jones. And in the arts and athletics, Everly Belly. Congratulations again to our winners. Your hard work, leadership, and kindness set the tone for our school, and I am incredibly proud of the example you set for others. Let's give them another round of applause. We got more. Good job, guys. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, for the Woodridge Junior Senior High School, we are proud to recognize our March Students of the Month. These students represent the very best of our school community, not just for their academic efforts, but for the way they show up each and every day with kindness, respect, and determination. Each of these students has made a positive impact in their own way, whether it's working hard in the classroom, supporting their peers, participating in activities, or simply, like Ms. Guglielmotti said, doing the right thing in silence. They set an example for others to follow. We are incredibly proud of you all and are grateful for the energy and positivity you bring to our school. Keep up the great work. You truly are making a difference in our school community. Congratulations. For the 7th grade, we have Maya Carrillo. For the 8th grade, we have Ella Poe, who's not here tonight. For the 9th grade, we have Audrina Santos. For the 10th grade, we have Lucas Gordon. For the 11th grade, we have Thomas Theodorakopoulos. And for our senior, we have Annie Marchitelli. Congratulations, guys. We're so proud of you.
Congratulations to all our students of the month. We're very proud. Our student representative, I believe, is playing flag football right now, Alexis Santana. So I believe when Mr. Albro returns, he's going to read her report. Just give us a second. Yeah. Also, we're going to take a short break after Mr. Albro's report. If anybody wants to go home, you can do that now. You can sneak out. I'm sure people have homework, dinner plans. We won't be insulted. Just feel free to stand up and go. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming. Congratulations, Annie.
I did not recognize her. I had no idea that was Ann.
Yeah.
The individual thought he was in Windhurst.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
he's coming back in.
You want me to grab him? Yeah, you do your report. I'll grab him.
You go. I'll do my. They've been tall from the winter. I said, "No, you're good." Unfortunately, our student representative is playing flag football right now, I believe, so I'm going to deliver the student's representative's report for April. At the end of March, our 10th graders took the PSAT 10 during the school day. While the test was not mandatory, nearly the entire class chose to participate, which is wonderful. Mrs. Mano and Mrs. Sturba hosted their annual choir day and band day, held on separate days, Students who are part of the intermediate school choir and band visited the high school for a fun-filled experience that included icebreakers, warm-ups, and a combined performance. Our seventh graders had a wonderful 3-day trip to Frost Valley. They were fortunate to have beautiful weather and enjoyed a variety of outdoor activities. Thank you to Mrs. Diaz and all the teacher chaperones for making this trip such a memorable experience for our students. Some of our juniors from Mr. Foreman's English classes, along with members of Mrs. Mano's Glee Club, attended Hamilton on Broadway in New York City and had an incredible time. Mrs. DiNapoli and members of the National Honor Society visited the Tenafly Nature Center, where they contributed to efforts to help protect our local ecosystem. Our 10th and 11th grade students took the ASVAB test last week, an assessment that helps identify strengths and work values to guide future career paths, including college, technical school, or military options. On Friday, we held our spring concert tour, where our band and glee club students performed at the intermediate school and the Robert L. Craig School in Moonachie. Marking Period 3 report cards have been released, and we will be announcing a date for the Marking Period 3 honor roll breakfast soon. NJSLA testing began today. As a reminder, we'll be operating on a delayed opening schedule tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow will be a delayed opening for grades 10, 11, and 12, and Wednesday will be a delayed opening for grades 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12. Please note that any 8th grader enrolled in Algebra 1 will not have a delayed opening.
That's it.
In athletics, we're happy to announce that Woodridge High School has been selected as a recipient of the NJIC Sportsmanship Award. Coaches and players have remained ejection-free, and other schools vote on who is most deserving of this honor. Great work by all of our programs for conducting themselves with class and dignity while competing at the high level. This is the Woodridge way. I also want to recognize Mr. Sinclair, who was voted an Athletic Director of the Year for our conference as well. Baseball is currently 8-6 and in second place in their division. The boys play 3 consecutive games this week, starting with Garfield today, right now. Softball has been playing at a high level, currently sitting at 10-3, undefeated in league play, placing them atop the division. The girls will travel to Elmwood Park today and are excited for the upcoming county tournament, which will begin based upon seeding. Track and field had a great showing at the Twin Borough meet in Ramsey this past weekend, earning first place finishes in boys shot put, boys discus, and the boys sprint medley. Both the boys and girls teams will travel to Emerson tomorrow for the league division championships. In just their first year, the golf team is currently 4-7 and has continued to show growth and competitiveness throughout the season. The team will compete in the NJIC championship this Friday. Flag football is currently 2-1 with a home game tonight, right now, against North Arlington. The Blue Devils have outscored their opponents thus far 105-30 and look forward to showcasing their skills in key league matchups over the next 2 weeks. The girls will need to win their remaining games to advance to the playoffs. That concludes the students' report.
Thank you, Mr. Albro. Board Administrators report. Short report.
While we're waiting for Keith, if I could take a second, Ms. Guglielmani, thank you, first of all, for inviting us to the TREPS event. I do want to say that that was an amazing event, watching all the 6th graders with all their marketing stuff. It was fantastic. I got a nice coaster out of it. I got some soap and some candles, and it was fantastic, though. Please extend it to the teachers and, most importantly, to the students. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2026-2027 budget presentation. Let's see if we can get this thing to work. And it is not working. Okay, all right, we'll get started. First off, I just want to thank the Board of Education, Mr. President Albie Nieves, Vice President Joseph Piamonte, Christopher Garvin, Richard Fallon, Michelle Milano, David Vaccaro, along with Mr. Albro, for their support as always, and especially their support during the budget process. Before we get into the budget itself, I just want to kind of focus on what we've been able to do this past year. I'll take a look at each individual school. So here are some district success stories. These are certainly not all of them. I don't think this is. Okay, there's a couple items missing from there, but I think Mr. Albro might be able to make mention of them. First off, at the Doyle School. Okay, first of all, at the Doyle School, obviously we all know that we completed the Highland Avenue Learning Annex, which is just a beautiful, beautiful structure. The completion of that increased the total number of sections per grade level, which helped to reduce the overall class sizes. Also during that project, a brand new gymnasium. And next year we're going to Well, a brand new gymnasium was built, absolutely amazing gymnasium, and there was a repurposing of the existing gymnasium into a dedicated cafeteria. Also, after the completion of the annex, we initiated our pre-K program, which did run in the Woodridge School District a number of years ago, but was dropped due to a lack of classes for it. But obviously, we increased the number of classes available. So the pre-K program was initiated last year. Initially, the pre-K program started off as a tuition-based program, but we were able to apply to the state for a grant, so it became tuition-free. That program will continue into next year. Moving over to the intermediate school, we made the decision to move the fourth grade down to the Doyle School with all the extra space to clear up classrooms in the intermediate school, with thinking ahead that the increased number of sections heading up from Doyle, rippling through, would eventually come into the intermediate school, and it would not be able to accommodate the 3 grade levels, 4th, 5th, and 6th that were there. So we reduced it down to only 2 grade levels, 5th and 6th, which are able to hold as many as 6 sections each, and in doing so, we reduced class sizes. Going over to special services, the child study team, we hired some additional staff, increased our staffing within CST. That was a necessity as our district continues to grow. The number of special education students entering the district also increases. Also, we definitely were intent on trying to bring back some out-of-district placements back into the district where we had the class size and the staff to handle it. In doing so, we were able to provide instruction for those students in their home district or home school where they'd be most comfortable. And in doing so, we also saved some money on tuition. So 2 benefits. Also, in every one of our classrooms in the entire district, all 3 buildings, we see new smart boards. So that's obviously up at the high school there as well. I didn't include a high school blur, but that took place at the high school as well. And we completed our 1-to-1 initiative, grades K through 12. Every student in the district has access to their own Chromebook. Continuing on with, I just want to give a little bit of a discussion about some background on our district before we get into the budget. We all know we have a relatively small district, but this is what we have currently this year. The Catherine E. Doyle School houses K to 4. As we said, it used to house K through 3, but we shifted the 4th grade down. It actually should say pre-K to 4. The total enrollment in the Catherine E. Doyle School as of this year is 668 students. The intermediate school going down to 2 grade levels. The enrollment is down to 190. It was around 250 or so when I was principal there a couple years ago. And the junior, senior high school, which is grades 7 through 12, the total enrollment there is 504 students. Total enrollment, including out-of-district students and the 3 schools, is 1,422 students. Moving over to 26-27 school year, this is our projected enrollment. We're projecting that the Doyle School will see approximately 678 students. The intermediate school, which will be grades 5 through 6, will see a little bit of a jump up to 211 students from 190. And the reason that being is that the lower grades in the Doyle School are relatively large, and they're beginning to ripple through the other grade levels. So we will likely be seeing the intermediate school enrollment continue to grow over the next several years. That's actually an 11% increase from their current enrollment at the intermediate school. Good luck, Ms. Guglielmani. Over to the junior, senior high school, grades 7 through 12, total enrollment, we are expecting to be around 520 students. That's actually a small increase as well. That's about a 3% increase. That increase is mainly going to be attributed to, we have one of the largest 8th grade groups in recent memory coming in from Moonachie to fill out the ranks. So we're going to expect a small increase there. Factoring the out-of-district students, we're looking at 1,465 students, a 3% growth overall in the school district for next year. Looking at district enrollment in its totality, we are looking at, if we look back over the past 10 years, a 13% growth from 2015-16 up to 25-26. You add in what we're projecting next year, and we're looking at a 16% growth during that time frame. Although we have seen overall growth in enrollment, the growth has not been evenly distributed throughout the 3 schools, as can be seen on the next slide. What you're looking at here is the enrollment per school. Catherine E. Doyle on the left, intermediate school on the right, intermediate school in the center, and high school on the right, from 2015-16 up to 25-26, and then the projected enrollment from in 26-27. Obviously, you can see the Doyle School has seen significant growth over the past 10 years, and then heading into 26-27, we're predicting a little bit more growth there, about 3%. Going over to the intermediate school, with the 4th grade heading down to Doyle, we saw a big drop down to 190. But again, those larger class sizes in Doyle, not larger class sizes, larger enrollment per grade level beginning to ripple through in the intermediate school. We see a little bit of jump up to 211, and that will continue over the next several years. And then over to the high school, we can see that little increase as well. Again, much of that is attributed to that 8th grade group coming up. Next slide. Before we talk numbers, I want to talk a little bit about the budget process as a whole and what goes into it. First comes first is we like to analyze historically what has happened in terms of expenses and revenue, taking a look at the trends over the years, what we expect the cost to go up, looking at maybe costs in 24-25, what they were in 25-26, and what they will be in 26-27. And then we can make projections based on the last couple of years as to what's going to happen in the revenue and the expenses in the coming school year in 26-27. We then go to the budget development aspect, where our school level administrators begin to make requests for budgets and supplies by their staff. They put together those requests. They are submitted up to the building level administrators, who then piece that together as a building level budget, analyze that, and pass that along for administrative review at the district level. Those budgets as a whole are reviewed by the district. They are then presented to the board for board review and discussion. And at some point, actually we saw in March, the preliminary budget is then submitted for board approval. That happened in March. After approval, it was then submitted to the county, a preliminary review. After the county reviews it, they make suggestions, may make recommendations as to something that might be wrong. We may make changes along the way, and then you lead to the final adoption of the budget, which is tonight. Our focus during that entire process is on balancing the needs and resources while maintaining high quality services. And this is not unlike a budget that you would have in your house, except it's just a little bit larger. In your house, at home, at the kitchen table. We all want the big house. We all want the expensive car. And we all want to go on the European vacation or the trip to the islands. But we can't afford those things. So we have to balance out our expenses with our revenue. We can still get the house. We can still get the car. And we want to get the most high quality house and car that we can get. But again, we have to do it within the confines of our revenue. The same is true for a school budget. There are two major components in a school budget: the revenue and the expenses. And so we're going to start off talking first about the revenue. Here are our revenue sources for the 26-27 school year. We have our proposed local tax levy for the general fund, $23,774,058. We also have a separate PEA, preschool education tax levy. That is separate from the general tax levy, and that's for $897,868, and that's to fund exclusively the preschool program. There is also a separate tax levy that is intended strictly for debt service or bonds that we have outstanding. I'm happy to report, due to some ability, and we'll see it a little bit later on, we were able to transfer some money around in order to decrease the amount that is required of the taxpayer to pay down the debt service. We'll see that in one of the other blurbs coming up soon. Next item is total tuition, $2,288,831. This is money that is coming in from tuition from Moonachie for our high school age students. It is also money that is coming in from our before and after care programs. The next item, transfer from fund balance, is $342,000. So this is money that is expected to be left over at the end of the 25-26 school year that we'll be able to incorporate into the 26-27 year budget to help close any potential budget gaps. The next item is the transfer from maintenance reserves, $349,435. This is money that over the years, money has been set aside into a separate account that is exclusively for maintenance of buildings, operations, and so on and so forth. And we can use it anytime we like as part of our budget. We are choosing to do so this year. That money will be incorporated into our 26-27 revenue. We did the same in a similar manner last year with a slightly less amount. Next item is transfer from capital improvements, $386,183. And this is related to item 3. We always said local tax levy debt service fund. The amount due in bonds is actually over $700,000 this year. However, we took out a bond in 2014, a referendum to do construction on the Doyle School. There was leftover money. That money that was left over from that bond is required by law to only be spent on a few different possible items. The original construction that it was intended for. And one of the other items it can be spent on is to help pay down the debt service on the original bond as part of that referendum. So we have chosen, last year we took $600,000 of leftover money to help pay down debt service to reduce the burden on the taxpayer. And this year we are taking the remaining $386,183 left of that bond to pay down that debt service, which will in turn reduce the burden to the taxpayer as part of that debt service fund local tax levy. The next item on the list is miscellaneous revenue from local sources, which is exactly as it applies. That's kind of just summing up a whole bunch of random different revenues that come in. Rather than breaking them out into many different areas, I'm just putting up there for ease of display. The next item is total state aid. Now, total state aid includes any, obviously, aid from the state, which would include items such as categorical special aid, transportation aid, security aid, extraordinary aid, debt service aid. The state actually gives us additional monies to help pay down our debt, which also subtracted a bit away from the total amount due from the taxpayer as part of the local tax levy, debt service portion. And also preschool aid. As we said earlier, we applied for a grant and we were offered that grant, and the state is paying a portion of our preschool costs, approximately 40%. I do want to expand a little bit further on some of these most significant areas. If you go to the next slide. So if you take a look at this, this kind of breaks down our revenue sources by category. Federal grants represent only 1% of our total aid. Total state aid is 10.3%. Miscellaneous revenue is 4%. Those transfers that I mentioned from capital improvements, 1.2%. From maintenance reserve, 1%. From fund balance, 1%. Total tuition is 6.8%. Local tax levy debt service fund, 1%. Local tax levy PEA, that's the preschool education debt service, not debt service, excuse me, preschool education portion of the tax levy, 2.7%. And then on the right-hand side, you see local tax levy general fund. But the point with looking at this is, go back for a second. Back. Okay, if you'll notice, local tax levy, huge portion here. Local tax levy PEA, 2.7%. Local tax levy here, 1%. Total tuition, that's coming here locally. That's coming in from the district. Transfer from maintenance reserve, transfer from capital improvements, transfer miscellaneous from local. Those are all, that's all money coming in either from the school budget or from the local taxpayer. So if we go to the next slide, you can see that kind of sums it up. Local revenue, we are supported, the school district is supported 89.1% of our revenue is supported by the local, the taxpayers and revenue coming in here from the district. Only about 10%, about 11% is coming from outside sources, 9.9% from the state, and only 1% coming in from the federal government. Since such a large portion of revenue is coming in from the local sources, I didn't want to just kind of key on this a little bit and just talk about this a little bit further. Our local tax levy, which is $23,774,058, represents a 2.24% increase from last year. That is actually a 2% increase from 25-26. We are obliged to not increase the taxpayer levy by more than 2% in any given year, as per a law passed by the state a number of years ago. However, there are some exceptions or adjustments which we're allowed to make to go beyond that 2%. So we have been given the opportunity to put in for an enrollment adjustment, which amounts to $54,585. That is due to the growth that we're seeing here in the district. Add that into our 2%, and that's where you wind up with that top number right there that we just mentioned, the $23,774,058. Going over the debt service tax levy, I already kind of mentioned this. The actual original debt service, the bond that we have coming due this year, is actually this amount here. However, with aid from the state in the second line, and a transfer from capital reserves from that, not capital reserves, capital projects, from that 2014 referendum, and that amount, we were able to bring down that amount due from the taxpayer to $329,910, a 14.17% decrease. Preschool tax levy is $897,868. Where does that come from? The cost of the pre-K program per the state formula, our program, comes in at a little bit over $1.5 million. The state has agreed to give us, as part of this grant, $591,853, and they're requiring that we donate to the pre-K program $23,539. Taking those amounts, the two bottom numbers away from the $1.5 million, we come to this number right here, $897,868, which is the amount that is part of the preschool tax levy. Yes. Breaking down our state aid, we can look at it year to year. I have 24-25 on the left, 25-26 on the center, and 26-27 on the right. For the most part, you will see increases if you just follow the blue line, categorical transportation, which is going up a small amount each year. Extraordinary aid, which you see has gone up, then down, that up. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Well, I should skip over that for a second. Categorical special education has gone up increasingly over the last few years. Equalization aid was an aid last offered in 24-25. It's actually not offered to any school district in the state, so that's cut away, but I did want to include that on there. Categorical security aid there in orange. Again, that's a growth from year to year to year. Significant growth last year. And that is our total state aid that you see it has consistently grown over the last 3 years. The reason I wanted to come back to extraordinary aid is I do want to make mention that we did get $673,186 in the 24-25 year. Extraordinary aid is a little bit different than the other state aids that are listed here, because the other state aids that are listed, we know in advance what we're going to get. I can tell you right now that these amounts in 26-27, we are getting $166,441 for categorical. We are getting $1,519,368 for special education, and so on and so forth. However, extraordinary aid, we don't know. We're not told in advance what that is, and we have to make a projection as to what it's going to be. So we are projecting that we're going to get $739,817 based on our current special ed population and the amount that we're going to have to pay in tuition. Also, I would like to note that this drop over here, it's not truly a drop. We don't actually really know that it's a drop just yet. Extraordinary aid, not only do I not know what extraordinary aid is going to look like in 26-27, I don't even know what extraordinary aid is going to look like this year. In the 25-26 school year, we projected $635,714. However, we actually didn't yet submit the report that is going to allow us to determine how that aid or how much of that aid is going to be coming to us. I know Liz over here is going to be helping me out with that report. We're going to be submitting that in the next month or so. After that report is submitted, then sometime in probably late May or June, we will have a better idea of what that amount will be. I'm hoping it's higher than $635,000, but that's what we budget for, and we're comfortable if we do get that. Those were our revenues. Going over to the second component of any budget, we can talk about our expenses, that very blurry slide. Before we get into the actual expense amounts, I just want to talk about the major cost factors, the types of things that we're dealing with in our budget, because it is these expenses that you kind of have to work around. And again, they have to meet the revenues and the expenses have to equal each other. Salaries, we know pretty much in advance that due to a contract that has been put together a number of years ago, that we can count on salaries for the most part being 3% per year. However, we are adding some positions, so the salaries will go up a little bit more than that, but overall salaries are 3%. In terms of benefits, we're projecting 2.8%. I do want to expand a little bit upon that, because if you look at budgets throughout the state, you will see benefits increases that are perhaps 18%, perhaps 20%. Perhaps even over 30%. Those benefits include, a good portion of that include health benefits. And as we are seeing around the state, health benefits are climbing drastically. The last projection that I saw was that health benefits, namely from the State Educators Health Benefits Plan, would be coming in somewhere around 36%. That's just a projection. Fortunately for us, we made a decision several months back to exit the State Educators Health Benefits Plan and find a private alternative. We have recently enrolled in the New Jersey Solutions Health Benefits Plan. It is referred to as a JIF, a JHIF, Joint Health Insurance Fund. And there is actually not going to be any growth in terms of percent or cost to us for next year. We locked in a rate from, which is May 1st, which is the starting day of this plan, through June of 2026, and there's actually a decrease in the amount of our expenses, which is wonderful. The 2.8% you see there is mainly an increase because I'm factoring in some additional health benefits for some new employees, and I'm also factoring the possibility of some employees switching over from perhaps either a single plan to a family plan, or perhaps going from a waiver over to a singular family plan, which will be a little bit more expensive. But making that switch over brought that number down significantly and might have saved our tails at least for the next year. Going down over to tuition. Tuition, I am projecting a 22% increase. Now, that is not to say that individual tuitions for out-of-school district students will be going up 22%. Most tuitions go up in the neighborhood of 3 to 4%. However, we are projecting a number of expensive out-of-district placements, which may be coming about which are going to cause a rise in that tuition, perhaps around 22%. Transportation, with out-of-district students, new out-of-district students, comes additional transportation cost. That's in addition to the normal inflation that we would expect with transportation. We all see the gas prices going up. Well, somebody's going to have to pay for that, and the bus companies are not going to pay for that. They're going to be passing those costs on down to us. So those have to be factored in as well. Insurance increases, although I do not have an actual cost. Our partners have expressed to us to prepare for a 7.7% increase, which is actually wonderful compared to last year's increase, which was projected to be upwards of 15%. Utilities, we participate in a co-op, which I'll mention later on, called ACES, that allows us to become part of a group of people where we're able to buy energy in bulk. But even though we're buying energy in bulk, we're still expecting, that co-op is recommending to us to expect a 17% increase next year. In terms of projected expenses per expense category, I have the category on the left, 25-26 expenses, 26-27 expenses, the increase and the percentage increase as well. For direct student services, which is the bulk of our costs, we're looking at approximately a 0.36% increase. So we're maintaining current services. For employee benefits, we already mentioned that. That's mostly our health benefits, and that's 2.83%. For operations and maintenance, to maintain these buildings, especially that fantastic, that magnificent wing we just built, it costs a lot of money. For custodians, it costs a lot of money for supplies, and so we're projecting a rather large increase there. For administration, we're seeing a slight decrease, and that's a little bit of a streamlining in staff. We've had some retirements this past year, so we're able to bring that number down. Transportation, I've already mentioned that. We're looking at approximately a 19.8% increase. Debt service capital expense, this is something that I mentioned earlier. As we indicated, we were looking at over $700,000 owed in bonds, but through some transfers, we're able to bring that amount down considerably. Also, last year we purchased a vehicle that cost about $65,000. That expense will not be occurring this year, and so that is a further decrease. So we're looking at about a 26% decrease there. Over in the Special Revenue Fund, this is Fund 20 expenses. We're looking at a slight decrease. This is mainly due to recommendations by the NJASBO to not necessarily count on the amount that is coming in from Title I funds, Title II funds, Title III funds, Title IV funds. We're hoping those amounts will go up, but we can't guarantee that, so we're decreasing our expenses accordingly. Overall, we're looking at a total increase, a modest increase of 1.35% to our budget. Breaking this down by category, we have 6.3%, direct student services, again, the vast majority of our costs at 58.4%. Employee benefits at 16.4%, operations maintenance 5.6%, administration 6.5%, transportation 3.2%, debt service 3.5%, and special revenue 6.3%. After all is said and done and our budget is created and we're happy with it, based on what you have just seen here, I just want to point out some of the highlights that we're able to incorporate into this budget. This budget continues to fully support our instructional programs and essential services, ensuring students and staff have the resources they need to success. And those highlights include continuing of 6 sections in pre-K through 2nd grade, continuing of 5 sections in grades 3 through 6. We're hiring 2 additional special education teachers at the Doyle School, 1 additional special education teacher at the intermediate school, 1 additional special education teacher at the high school, and 1 additional social worker at the Doyle School to help work with our preschool. Also worth mentioning is we have purchased new social study, or put money into the budget to purchase new social studies textbooks and materials for grades K through 6, so all the way up through 6th grade, and new science text and materials from kindergarten all the way up through 8th grade. Okay, it's a little, okay, there we go. Obviously, we're spending a lot of money, but we do want to do our best to save the taxpayer money. So how do we go about saving money? Well, we do participate in the South Bergen Jointure Commission, which is a group of schools in Southern Bergen County that join together. And again, purchasing in bulk allows you to save some money. So we work with the South Bergen Jointure Commission to arrange for those purchases for transportation, different shared services, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and so on and so forth. We take part in ACES, which I mentioned earlier, which is a group of school districts in the state that co-op together to purchase energy. We are a member of at least 2 different joint insurance funds, the School Alliance Insurance Fund and the South Bergen Region 7 Workers' Compensation Pool. We group together with other school districts in our local area in order to purchase insurance. And again, that provides a discounted rate because of our purchase through bulk. And we are also, as I mentioned earlier, officially taking part in a joint health insurance fund, New Jersey Solutions, effective May 1st, which is easily going to save us well over $1 million. We also have shared service agreements with the Woodridge Borough, who helps us out tremendously. And we also take part in a number of cooperative purchasing organizations, one of them being Ed Data. When all is said and done, I know that everybody wants to know what we're going to wind up paying in the end. How will this budget impact my taxes? School tax levy for the 2026-2027 school year will increase the average taxpayer $531, which is $44.25 per month on the average home, which is valued at $645,000. And that is the completion of my presentation. Mr. Albert, do you have anything to add, or?
No, besides saying thank you, Mr. Lewis, great report.
Okay.
You have a report?
Mr. Lisa, that was well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice presentation. Moving on, no superintendent's report tonight. Approval of minutes upon the recommendation of the superintendent. The Board of Education approved minutes of the following meeting. Public session, February 26, 2026, March 23rd, 2026. Roll call.
No motion.
Oh, motion to Mr. Fallon, second. Mr. Garvin, roll call.
Mr. Fallon.
Yes.
Mr. Garvin.
Yes.
Ms. Milano.
Yes.
Kara is absent. Mr. Biamonte.
Yes,
And Mr. Davis is absent. Thank you.
motion carried. Committee reports. Mind if I just go through them? Okay.
Why break tradition there, Mr.
Yeah, why not? Curriculum instruction. Approval of home instruction, we're amending a related services, field trip request, submission of the 2025-2026 Statement of Assurance for the NJ voter registration week, adoption of the new curriculum, cursive writing grades 3 through 5, home instruction, field trip requests, personnel, a retirement notification, a leave of absence. We have a personnel appointment, district substitutes. We have approval of student volunteers for the community hours for aftercare. We also have approval of chaperones, approval of co-curricular appointment, approval of request for leave of absence, approval of Doyle 6th period teaching stipend for this year, approval of appointment of long-term replacement substitute, approval of personnel appointment, no policy. Buildings and grounds, we have approval of facility requests, 2 of them. We also have approval of interior renovations of the Woodridge Intermediate School. Finance, bills list. We have the approval of the monthly financial report of the board secretary and treasurer. approval of certification of balanced budget, approval of budget transfers, fundraisers, approval of the renewal agreement with the Systems 3000, also approval of renewal contract with Bayada Home Health Care, Inc. for in-school nursing services for next year. Approval of renewal contract for Phoenix Advisors for the municipal advisor and continuing disclosure services for next school year. Approval of renewal contract for Harris Education Solutions for next school year. Approval of renewal agreement with Turnitin LLC for next school year. Approval of contract services with South Bergen Jointure Commission for next school year. Approval of joint transportation agreement, South Bergen Jointure Commission for the next school year. Approval of amendment to the copier lease agreement, server and paper cut software. Approval of renewal contract for Lurch, Vinci, and Bliss LLP for the next school year. Increase in wire transfer limit, Spencer Savings Bank. Renewal of food service management contract for next year. Approval of breakfast, lunch prices for next year. Approval of budget funds and transfers for next year. Approval of transfer of capital funds to debt service for next school year. And the preschool, approval of the preschool education program budget for next year. Approval of maximum travel reimbursement for next year. And actual table that? We're tabling BO1 for under board operations. How about BO2 and 3? We're tabling all of it.
Just
Number 1, okay.
Mr. Biemonte, can I make a statement?
Absolutely.
I just want to make one comment on personnel. We have retirements on our agenda this evening. 2 longtime staff members, Mrs. Denise Tisi, the administrative assistant who started at the high school and has currently been at the Doyle School for quite a long time. She has announced her retirement effective at the end of the school year. Mrs. Maria Monda, who started in our district as our nurse at the Doyle School and now is finishing up as a nurse at the intermediate school. Combined, there's probably about 50 years of experience that we're losing once they retire. And we will recognize them at the end of the year, but I'm sure the board is behind me in wishing them the best of luck in their retirement. Thank you.
Absolutely, Mr. Robro. We wish them luck, success in their retirement. I'm going to open up the hearing of citizens for resolutions only. Hearing none, seeing none. Closing the hearing of citizens for resolutions only. My fellow trustees, we have the following resolutions on the agenda for approval, Munaki included. Curriculum instruction, 3, 4, 6. Personnel, 3 through 7. None for policy and regulation. We have buildings and grounds, number 1. Finance, we have 1 through 21. And board operations, 2 through 5, we are tabling 1. Entertain a motion. Mr. Garvin, second. Ms. Milano. Roll call.
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Garvin,
Yes.
Mrs. Milano,
Yes.
Mr. Biemonte.
Yes, moving on to the Woodridge-only resolutions. Curriculum instruction, 1, 2, and 5. Personnel, 1, 2, 8, 9. None for policy and regulations. Buildings and grounds, 2 and 3. None for finance. And we are tabling board operations, number 1. To entertain a motion. Mr. Fallon, seconded by Ms. Milano. Roll call.
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Garvin,
Yes.
Mrs. Milano,
Yes.
Mr. Biemonte.
Yes. Anything for new business?
All right, we need a motion that following tonight's residency hearing, the board determines that students CB and CB are not domiciled in Woodridge and authorizes the issuance of a final notice of ineligibility.
Thank you, sir. Anything else for new business? Go ahead and make a motion on that? Motion. Ms. Milano, seconded by Mr. Fallon. Roll call.
Mr. Fallon,
Yes.
Mr. Garvin,
Yes.
Mrs. Milano,
Yes.
and Mr. Biemonte.
Yes. Anything else for new business? Anything at all? Communications, anything? Any unfinished business? Anything? We're going to open up the hearing of citizens for anything you want to talk about. Anyone? Anything online?
Nothing online.
Closing the hearing of citizens for anything you want to talk about. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Fallon, second by Mr. Garvin. Motion, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. All right.